I always knew Karen was a plague in high heels. You could hear her voice 3 blocks away before you even saw her sunburnt scowl marching around with a clipboard like she was the Queen of England and the neighborhood was her personal monarchy. She ran the HOA like a dictatorship with a spray tan and a superiority complex. The woman made it her life's mission to torment the entire cul-de-sac. Mailbox too colorful? Citation. Lawn not mowed precisely every 4.2 days? Fine. Halloween decorations in November? Literal threat of exile. But she crossed a nuclear line the day she messed with Maximus, my 90-pound golden retriever with a heart bigger than her ego, and a bark that made joggers skip a heartbeat. It was a Friday, and I just finished pressure washing my driveway, which, of course, Karen had previously cited for being too gritty. I went inside for 5 minutes, to grab Max's treat bag for our usual walk, only to come back out and find his leash lying abandoned on the lawn like a murder scene. No barking, no Max. Just a sticky note on my front door that read, "Per HOA regulations, no pets allowed. Your animal has been confiscated for rule violation." I read it twice, thought it was a joke, and laughed for a full 10 seconds before realizing this psycho really did it. She kidnapped my dog. I stormed down to her house, a beige McMansion with security cameras, solar panels she never hooked up, and 12 garden gnomes arranged like they were guarding Fort Karen. I pounded on her door until the paint chipped, but of course no answer. Her curtains twitched though. I saw that ratty little movement. She was home, just hiding like the coward she is. The next move was the HOA office down the street. I arrived like a hurricane in gym shorts, demanded to know who gave her the right to steal my dog. The bored teenager behind the desk blinked at me like I was speaking alien. "Sir, I don't think that's legal," she mumbled. No one knew anything. No paperwork. No warning letters. No actual rule in the manual. Karen had gone full vigilante. I called animal control. They laughed so hard I swear one of them pulled a muscle. They hadn't picked up any dog from my street. That's when it hit me. She didn't just file a report or tattle, she physically took my dog. Somewhere in this cookie-cutter neighborhood, Karen had my Maximus locked up like a furry little prisoner. So I did what any mildly unhinged, emotionally unstable pet parent would do. I started searching. I knocked on doors, I checked garages, I peeked over fences like a desperate dog dad ninja. 3 houses in, I hit jackpot. Old Man Bert had a security cam pointed right at the street. We rolled the footage back to 2:13 p.m., and there she was, Karen, dragging Max into the back of her Subaru like she was smuggling contraband. He wasn't resisting, just confused, tail tucked between his legs, glancing back like, "Bro, what the hell is happening?" I took that footage and emailed it to every HOA board member, local news tip line, and my lawyer cousin in Seattle. But Karen wasn't done. Faith, that night, she hosted an emergency HOA meeting. No one was invited, except me. Her letter arrived in a black envelope, like some villainous Hogwarts invite. You are required to attend a mandatory disciplinary hearing. Bring no animals. Oh, I was bringing something all right. Not Max, but a plan. She wanted war, she just declared it. And I fight dirty. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was scared, because I was scheming. If Karen wanted to play boardroom Hunger Games, I was showing up as District 13 with napalm and a vengeance. By the time the mandatory HOA hearing rolled around the next morning, I had 3 USB drives, 6 labeled manila folders, and a PowerPoint titled Karen's Greatest Hits, A Descent into HOA Madness. The meeting was held in the community clubhouse, which normally smelled like old people and floor wax. But this time it reeked of Karen's perfume, some unholy blend of rotting roses and corporate oppression. I walked in and there she was, perched at the end of a folding table like a dollar store Bond villain. Her hair was more helmet than style, and she had the smug grin of someone who thought they'd already won. The board members sat stiffly beside her, clearly either threatened or tranquilized. Karen cleared her throat like a dying goat. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone this is a pet-free environment. This neighborhood has voted unanimously to maintain a no dog, no cat, no lizard, no ferret policy. I raised my hand. When did this vote happen? Was it before or after you kidnapped my golden retriever and shoved him into the back of your crusty Subaru like a sack of potatoes? A few snickers broke out. Karen's eyes narrowed. Your animal was in violation of the bylaws. I acted in the community's best interest. Oh, really? I said, sliding a folder across the table. Here's a picture of your neighbor 3 doors down, walking their corgi last Thursday. Here's another one of Janice with her 3 cats. And this one's my favorite. Here's your security cam footage showing your own niece bringing over her Shih Tzu every weekend. Karen blinked. That's not relevant. I dropped the second folder like a mic. Relevant enough for animal control, and if you check your email, you'll find a complaint filed under your name for illegal pet detainment. I also sent a copy of the security footage to the city attorney and a local Facebook group that's very bored and very passionate about pet rights. Um, she paled. The room got quiet, except for someone whispering, "Oh, damn," under their breath, like they were watching a reality show spiral into chaos. Karen stood up so fast her chair fell over. "This is my HOA. I make the rules. If you don't like it, move." I smiled. "That's the thing. You don't make the rules, Karen. You break them. I've got receipts for years of unauthorized HOA fund spending, including that community beautification project where you paid your cousin Todd $4,000 to pressure wash your driveway, and that new clubhouse coffee machine. Yeah, board never approved it. Paid in full from HOA funds shipped to your house." Gasps erupted. The board members stared at each other like they were finally realizing they'd been sitting next to a live grenade. Karen lunged for my folders like she was going to eat them, but I sidestepped like a seasoned matador and pulled out the pièce de résistance, a printed sign from her front yard, snapped last Christmas, reading, "Santa Paws welcomes all pets." "You know what's wild?" I said, grinning. "Not just that you kidnapped my dog, but that you did it while violating your own rules. That's a special kind of crazy." Her eyes darted. Her lip twitched. She looked ready to combust. And then, in a move so Karen it physically hurt to watch, she screamed, "Get out! You're banned from this community." I didn't move, just calmly pulled out my phone and started live streaming. "Say hi to the internet, Karen." Now the HOA board looked really uncomfortable. Karen stormed out, muttering something about lawyers and conspiracies, but I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. I still hadn't found Max, and Karen had just declared HOA martial law. Karen disappeared for 2 days. No emails, no walkabouts with her obnoxious clipboard, not a single passive-aggressive flyer duct taped to anyone's door. The whole neighborhood was buzzing like a middle school gossip chain. Some thought she'd fled to avoid lawsuits. Others swore they saw her boarding a Greyhound bus with a wig and sunglasses like a suburban fugitive. Me? I knew she was hiding because she was cornered. And Karens don't go down quietly. They dig bunkers, they plot, they retaliate. And retaliate she did. I came home Tuesday morning to find my front yard wrapped in bright yellow caution tape like a crime scene. My mailbox had a violation notice slapped across it in red ink. Apparently it was now an unapproved shade of blue. My lawn gnome, Sir Sprinkles, had been decapitated and tossed into my trash bin like a mafia warning. But the cherry on top? She'd zip-tied a brand new, absolutely ridiculous metal sign to my porch railing that read, "This property under investigation for pet smuggling." Pet smuggling. She made it look like I was running a canine cartel. I laughed so hard my neighbor Janice thought I was losing it. But laughter faded fast when I noticed something else. Tiny paw prints in the fresh mulch near my fence. Not stray tracks, Max's tracks. I knew those chunky prints like the back of my hand. And they were fresh. That lunatic still had my dog, and he was close. So I did what any desperate, half-caffeinated man would do. I bought a drone. It took an hour to set up and roughly 3 YouTube tutorials to figure out how not to fly it straight into a tree. Once I had the drone up in the air, I scanned the neighborhood like a budget spy. And there it was, Karen's backyard, surrounded by a newly installed 6-foot privacy fence, suspiciously fresh, but not fresh enough to block the bird's eye view of a certain golden floof lounging in a patio kennel. Max, my sweet, emotionally traumatized, illegally impounded golden retriever, was alive and chewing on what looked like one of Karen's fancy outdoor throw pillows like it owed him money. I screen recorded everything. Then I did the only thing a man with nothing left to lose and a drone full of justice could do. I made flyers. Not just any flyers. Full color, front and back, with screenshots of Max, the drone footage, and bold font that read, "Dog napper in our midst. HOA president imprisons golden retriever in backyard gulag." I papered every mailbox, every lamppost, every tree. Kids were riding their bikes holding them. The ice cream truck had one taped to its window. Karen woke up the next morning to find the entire neighborhood plastered in proof of her crimes. Then came the prank war. Someone installed a giant inflatable dog on her lawn overnight. Someone else got a speaker and blasted dog barking on loop from the storm drain. Even Bert, the retired Marine who once said HOA meetings gave him Vietnam flashbacks, started walking a robotic dog down the street just to mess with her. Karen snapped. She marched out, screaming, red in the face, still wearing her HOA Harmony Overall hoodie. She pulled up signs. She screamed at passing joggers. She tried to yank the drone out of the sky with a broom. I caught that on camera, too. And through it all, Max watched from behind that privacy fence, munching on her roses like a furry little king. I had her cornered, but I wasn't calling the cops yet. No, Karen needed to crumble first. Karen was unraveling faster than a clearance aisle sweater. By Wednesday morning, she'd swapped her usual HOA jumpsuit for sweatpants and Fury. Her signature golf cart, aka the Community Compliance Cruiser, was parked sideways in her driveway with 2 flat tires and what looked like a bag of Cheetos in the cup holder. No clipboard, no smug grin. Just a woman on the edge, and I was the one holding the scissors. I started hearing the rumors from all corners of the neighborhood. She tried to find the mailman for excessive footsteps. She screamed at a toddler for blowing bubbles too close to her curb. She tried to shut down the community pool because the water looked too wet. Karen was spiraling, and I was pouring oil on the slope. Meanwhile, Operation Maximus Liberation was in full swing. My tech buddy from college, Dave, a certified genius and functional lunatic, came by with enough gear to hack a small government. He rigged a motion sensor to a squeaky toy so every time Max moved, it sent me a ping. We even synced up a baby monitor to catch audio. First night, we heard Karen trying to negotiate with Max. If you stop barking, I'll give you turkey. Do you want turkey? No? Fine. No turkey. I don't care. You're lucky to be here, you little beast. I posted the audio online with subtitles. It got 42,000 views in 4 hours. The internet was not on her side. By Thursday, Karen had officially declared her yard a no-hover zone, complete with homemade warning signs drawn in crayon. She even tried building a tarp roof to block my drone's view, but bless her glitter-loving heart, it looked like a poorly pitched camping tent made from old shower curtains. Max was now living in what I could only describe as a backyard hostage fort. Then came the HOA board's emergency meeting, this one without Karen. Apparently, they'd had enough. Enough of the complaints, the memes, the nightly barking soundtrack on their doorbell cams. They invited me this time, not as the accused, but as the guest of honor. Janice brought cookies. Bert handed me a mug that said HOA this on it. They'd been digging too. Turns out Karen had been doctoring HOA votes for years. Her no pet zone rule never actually passed. Her unanimous approvals, fake signatures. One was literally just the word Steve written in purple gel pen. There is no Steve. They wanted to strip her title, but I stopped them. Not yet. Karen deserved a downfall with style, not just a firing. She needed the kind of social implosion that made HOA history, the kind that'd be whispered about at garage sales for generations. And I had just the ticket. Friday morning, I sent out invites, not online, paper invites. Classy, elegant. Neighborhood watch party Saturday night, special screening, BYO lawn chair. Everyone came, even that grumpy guy with the no soliciting or eye contact sign on his door. We set up a projector in my driveway, popcorn machine, folding chairs, cookies shaped like paw prints. And when the sun dipped and the cicadas started singing, I hit play. Drone footage, audio clips, HOA documents. Karen's greatest hits in glorious HD. The highlight reel included her cussing out Max for not sitting on command and an audio snippet where she called the neighborhood a zoo run by idiots. The laughter was so loud it drew her out. She came storming over, barefoot, wearing a bathrobe and holding a spatula like she was about to grill someone's dignity. "Turn that off," she shrieked. "This is defamation. I'm calling my lawyer." Bert shouted. "Tell him to bring snacks." She lunged at the projector and tripped over a cooler. Fell right into a plate of nachos. Max barked from her backyard like he knew justice was marinating. That was the moment, the crack in her soul. But I still hadn't called the cops because the grand finale was coming. Karen vanished after the nacho incident, like full ghost mode. Her porch light stayed off for 2 nights straight. No morning walk of control in her robe. No HOA fines taped to bird baths. Even the neighborhood cats started peeking at her house like they sensed an exorcism was in order. But I knew she was still inside, plotting, probably writing her manifesto in glitter pen or crafting some long-winded email to the UN about pet-free communities. I could have ended it. Called the cops the moment Max showed up in her yard. But no. Karen needed something more than a slap on the wrist. She needed to be publicly obliterated. And after 5 days of warfare, drone strikes, digital humiliation, and passive-aggressive baked goods, justice decided it was time to kick down the door. Saturday morning, I got the ping from Max's caller, but this time it wasn't from Karen's backyard. It was moving. Fast. I dashed outside in my slippers and saw it. Karen's Subaru crawling down the street like a guilt-ridden getaway car. The windows were cracked just enough to reveal Max in the back seat, pressed against the glass with his tongue out like he'd just been rescued from Alcatraz. Karen was in the driver's seat, hair wild, sunglasses crooked, but muttering like she was arguing with her steering wheel. I jumped in my truck and followed her at a distance, calling animal control on speaker. Yes, the same dog, I told them. Yes, the same woman. Yes, she's still batshit. Karen turned into the parking lot of the community park, of all places the most dog-friendly spot in town. Leashes, poop bag stations, little fire hydrant statues. Either she was losing her grip on reality or she thought she could dump Max and disappear before the villagers came with pitchforks. I parked, hopped out, and sprinted like a dad on a mission. She popped the trunk and tried to usher Max out with what looked like a turkey sandwich. He took one sniff, looked at her like she was insane, then bolted right into my arms. That's when I heard it. Step away from the vehicle, ma'am. 2 officers. Real badges. Real scowls. Real tired of HOA drama. Karen froze. Max barked once, then peed on her tire like it was ceremonial. One officer approached. Ma'am, we received multiple complaints about unauthorized animal possession, trespassing, and misuse of HOA authority. You've also been caught on video detaining a domesticated pet without consent. Karen tried to channel her inner courtroom drama. I was protecting the neighborhood. He was an unauthorized canine, a rogue beast. He's wearing a collar with his name and address on it, the officer said, pointing. And you kidnapped him. That's felony level dumb, ma'am. But the HOA laws, the other officer cut in. Ma'am, the HOA has no legal authority to detain pets. You are not law enforcement. You're not even on the board anymore. They voted you out yesterday, unanimously. Karen's jaw dropped like someone unplugged her brain. You can't arrest me. I am the HOA. No, ma'am, said the officer, pulling out cuffs with the tired sigh of a man who's dealt with too many Karens. Right now, you're just a lady with a stolen dog, a stack of violations, and a very loud internet footprint. She tried to run. She got 2 steps before slipping on a patch of mud and face-planting right next to a poodle named Cinnamon. I held Max tight as they cuffed her, his tail wagging like he just watched the best movie of his life. A crowd had gathered, phones out, recording, cheering, a few even clapping like it was the end of a Disney movie. Karen was hauled off, shouting nonsense about bylaws and tyranny. Max licked my face like, bro, we won, and we did. That night, the entire neighborhood threw a block party. Max had 5 bowls of treats, 3 new tennis balls, and a custom tag that read, Ho-Oh Survivor. Bert DJed. Janice brought a cake shaped like a jail cell. Someone hung a banner across Karen's empty house that read, Pet Zone Activated. It was over. The dictatorship was done. The dog was free. And the Karen, booked, bagged, and banned from the HOA she once ruled like a dictator with a clipboard and a caffeine addiction. Justice had a name, and it barked.